Hi everyone, and welcome to the Kubeflow Model Registry bi-weekly meeting. Welcome. I want to remind everyone that is present that this meeting is being recorded, and for everyone that as well this meeting adheres to the CNCF Code of Conduct. So welcome everybody, and in order to just get started, we have as usual our agenda items that I'm going to share in the chat. So if you are watching the recording of this meeting and you want to join the biweekly, please feel free to do so. And if you have any items that you want to speak to in the community, please feel free to add that to the agenda. Everybody is have access to this document so that they can add their points to be talked to. So starting with some just logistic note, as a reminder, I don't have yet the ability to kickstart a Zoom call, but eventually we will transition this meeting to the Zoom bridge. When that will be ready, I will notify everyone. And for another logistic item, today is a release date. So today the Kubeflow 1.9 is being released. So kudos to, of course, the bigger Kubeflow community, but as well to this working group for the great work done. It's so exciting to be part of this release train. So just earlier to this meeting, they were discussing about in the release meeting, the release team meeting, about all the components. So it's nice that we are present out there and looking forward to the next phases of development for the Kubeflow 1.10 that will be starting next. As usual, please, if you're watching the recording, please feel free to as well join the Kubeflow community meetings that happen every Tuesday, and so to give any feedback or comments there. I see that there is some raised hand, so Ramesh, back to you.
Yeah, Matthew, I just want to take as we are Kubeflow 1.9 is being released today, I just want to take a minute and thank you and congratulate you on your excellent leadership on the community. Obviously, it would not be possible without your efforts behind, whether it's running the community meetings or, putting together the issues, bringing everybody together. So I really do appreciate all the work that went in, and continued success for our team. Here we go.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ramesh. Really appreciate it and great. I'm really glad and honored to be part of this team. So really thank to everybody for their participation and their contribution. This is really takes a village to make this kind of project, and I think that we are demonstrating as well as a team and as a working group the value in the Kubeflow community. For those who follow the Kubeflow community meetings on Tuesday, let's say this working group is one that is being called out in a good way, so for good feedback on their activity. So let's keep up the good work for 1.10 and the release coming in next. So thanks again, Ramesh. And
congratulations to all the Model Registry team. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Around. We did a good job, and that's being recognized by everybody in the Kubeflow community. So.
Thank you so much. All right, so that is for the party. We can have maybe a virtual beer just after the meeting. So moving on to the next item, we have Eder here. I think that is there's some items. So if you want to speak to that item, Eder.
Yep. Hi everyone. We just started the work like this, and we have Lucas, Alex, and Griffin is a new person on board. Working on this. Soon we are going to publish the roadmap. Just Lucas and I, we are working in what's the best breaking down for this to do incremental deliveries and the point for the community. So you take 1 or 2 weeks, but you publish everything on Jira. Also, not on Jira, not everything on GitHub issues.
Yeah. Thank you, Eder, also earlier for the update on the Dependabot. So just for information for the whole group, so the Dependabot updates has been extended to cover for BFFs and the UI. So there will be as well PRs incoming for those updates as well. And I of course, we will deal. Welcome, Shrinkat. We'll just give a second in a second. So Heather, I will count on you and the team to follow on those PR, because that are the part that is subject matter, where you are the subject matter expert. So there is.
Yep. I'll make sure that everything was done weekly.
Yeah, thank you.
Right now there is like 10 open, but I hope that it could be easier.
Yes, Ramesh. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you. A request for reader, do you see maybe you can take a opportunity in next meeting or so, either to present your architecture to the team here, and
Yep.
I want to see if there is any way we can solicit any other contributors from the bigger upstream that can, that may be curious in trying to. I know you've been trying to put this architecture as a architecture for the UI in the Kubeflow itself, right? There is another effort we are trying to do to elevate the architecture of this dashboard at a Kubeflow level, not just the model registry level. So that's, I just want to call that one out. And at the same time, maybe we can use this venue to evangelize a little bit more on that, because it may be a little bit harder to get some time in the Kubeflow community call itself. Maybe we can even take there, but that's either there or here. I think I definitely will suggest we'll grab 10 or 15 minutes to go present your use case, how you're building it, and solicit for more external contributions, whether even that is documentation or some other small things, so that we can bring everybody along. That would be my suggestion. What do you think of that? I don't want to sign you up for it, but I want to get you.
It's perfect because on Friday I will do the same presentation from the steering committee, so I can just copy and paste and do the same presentation here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be great. I mean, even if I don't know, I guess we need to figure it out whether this is a good venue versus a Tuesday's Kubeflow community call is a good venue, but one of these two would be great.
Yeah, I will do this as if everything goes as expected well with the steering committee. I probably schedule a follow up for the whole community, but for sure can talk 5 minutes here.
Okay,
it'd be a pleasure.
You can do both then. Okay, sounds good.
Not just on next Monday I will have a course, so you probably will be on the next week.
Yeah, I don't think we have until next one is probably not until 5th of August.
Oh yes, August 5. It's fine. It's more than fun. Yeah.
Yeah. We do it every other week.
Yep. Perfect.
Great suggestion. Thank you, Ramesh. Absolutely. Right. So thank you, Heather, again. And so I saw earlier today some updates on the CSI example from Andrea. I saw that Andrea is in the call. So Andrea, please, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Matteo. Yeah, there are a couple of updates on this effort. I was able to fix the CI on the CSI. So at the moment, the pull request itself is ready for review in terms of code changes. So I was able to add an end-to-end test that will somehow guarantee that any change that is applied to the model registry doesn't, let's say, break the CSI, and obviously vice versa. I mean, actually, the CSI cannot break the model registry, so that's not a problem in that direction. But anyway, there are just a couple of things that are unclear to me, or I think that's something that we should decide how do we want to build, publish, and release the CSI. Because at the moment, the test, so the CI workflow, is actually testing the CSI using the local model registry, such that you can, be sure that you are using the model registry for which you might have, I don't know, made some changes or local changes or whatever. So even the model registry library is the same that you are using locally. So it doesn't have a fixed version of the model registry at the moment. So I think that here we have two main option in the release process. So either we release the model registry, and then in a follow-up step, we release the CSI by fixing the model registry version to the latest one that we just released. Or we release both CSI and model registry together. Yeah, exactly, Dirk. We release in the same step. The only difference is that the model registry will be released as it is right now. The CSI doesn't have a fixed version of the model registry, but it will just reuse the same model registry code base that it has locally, and push obviously the container image of the CSI with that. Yeah, Dirk.
Yeah, as long as there aren't like any backwards compatible breaking changes or something, we should be able to handle that, right? And we can always change log it and stuff if there are breaking changes.
Yeah.
The real kind of administrative problem is that we'll have to figure that the location of the CSI release and stuff, right? I don't think we have a Docker registry designated for it or anything, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we have just the model registry one. So
not yet, but we can ask. So let's say that is not a problem at all. We just need to inform the steering committee or somehow the community leads that we are going to publish another container image, and I don't think it is a problem at all, because we will have the same kind of a thing when say the UI BFFs
exactly headers work.
Yeah, so I think that is not really a problem. The thing that I believe that Andrea, and please Andrea, just check me if I'm doing what you say. Your question is that if you release basically both at once, which is also would be my preference, the only thing is that you are strictly testing the CSI code with the local code that you have from Model Registry. So you have no way to pin it to a version, because simply at the time you don't have the version just yet. But this doesn't sound like a problem in general. So were you thinking about some scenario in specific that...
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that with this approach, we can even guarantee that we release both Model Registry and the CSI from the same commit, because we are using exactly the same code base.
Right.
So, and furthermore, the CSI is actually meant to be used as a container image.
Yeah.
So once we build that container image and publish it, I don't see any other issue in that approach. For sure, it would be easier because we just need to run the workflow that will build, publish the container image once, because it will be the same actually, just a new step. We can adjust a new step in the current Model Registry one. And yeah, but I don't know if we have other preference here.
So Mateo, you want to add action items for that?
Yeah, I'm going to record it as soon as we decide. So basically the action item that you're sort of like hinting at is to make sure that we have the sort of like the token enabled for a new Docker image. And then there will be kind of like an extension of the GitHub action so that it publishes whenever we have a tagged, whenever we have a tag for there. I think.
Is that not part of the same PR, Andrea?
No, it is. I mean, at the moment it is. I mean, there is still one this missing part is not yet implemented.
The image release or something?
Sorry?
The image release?
Yeah, exactly. The image release is not here. But I mean, if we decide on something, we can do in the same PR. I mean, don't have to create another one.
Ramesh, I see that you have raised a hand.
Keep talking on mute. Just from the end user perspective, Andrea, do you have something like a architecture slash, like a sequence diagram, how this is being, how this can be used. So that was my first question. The second question is kind of a little bit more open to, everybody, Dheeraj, Matthew, Andrea. Do we see, I mean, when we are saying, we include this one as an image, do we see also, the expansion into our MR API are such that, we shield the user from, the manual creation of the, you only need to create the container initializer one time, right? As I understand it, maybe we do that as a part of deployment of MR, or not as a user action, but something we automatically take care of. Something comes out of the box, so to speak, when we see that there is a K-service available. Something more automated, right? I'm thinking, user does not need to take multiple steps to do this, or a Python library. Another one is, do we see any Python extensions here to a user can directly deploy or something using this technique? Any of the, I'm more looking at from the end user perspective, or whoever is going to use that, how can make it easy for them to, without going through a lot of jumping through a lot of hoops.
I think it's like, if I understand correctly, here is like you're asking, instead of asking the user to configure the Kubeflow cluster to use this CSI, it's like if we would like to have something out of the box. I think that here we needed to coordinate mainly with the K-Serve add-on community, simply because this, if I remember correctly, Andrea, this is like a custom resource that you add as a,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So it's like, I think that there we needed to check what will be their preference, because I expect that somehow, so what they want, what it's basically a customer source in their territory. So I think that we can say, hey, we have this one that if people are onboarding on Model Registry is something needed. So they will tell us if they are happy to onboard it as part of their manifest, or we can have it in our manifest if we see that the customer resource definition is available. Because the only thing that I don't know of, just on top of my head, is that we want to ensure that all the manifest application are going through, and not that I'm trying to apply a customer resource that doesn't exist a definition for. I don't know if I made sense.
You kind of lost me a little bit towards the end there, Matthew, but the way I was saying is, if Model Registry is the one who is enabling this capability, right? Because even if they put it in their manifest, if Model Registry is not there, that's a problem. So it should live in our manifest, but I don't know whether this needs to live in certain namespace versus this custom resource can live anywhere, and people can use that portions. I don't know. That's why I wanted to see the sequence diagram to understand a little better. But I'm looking at just a suggestion, but at the end I'm looking at how can we make this one, when Model Registry is installed in a Kubeflow, how can we make all these things a lot more dead simple for the user to just start using it. So take out the hurdle of it. I know I see Dheeraj's hand raised, so go ahead, Dheeraj.
Yeah, I was wondering, kind of the same thing or along similar lines. What's the scope of that custom resource the user has to create? Is it per application, per namespace, per cluster? That's what will decide where it can go, right?
I think it is per cluster.
Okay.
I need to check, but I think, if I correctly remember, it is per cluster. I mean, you don't have to specify the namespace.
Okay, so then it could potentially be part of the Istio manifest.
Yeah, it could.
Sorry, Kubeflow manifest.
Yeah.
Q4 manifest or model registry manifest.
Yeah, it's similar somehow. From what I can see, is that K-serve is using cluster saving runtimes. So sort of like if you say that you support, say there is the runtime for TensorFlow models that is available cluster wide. So that is the similar thing that we will do, but on our end for this custom resource. All right, but it's a fair point. So we will have, but this is something that we can work on, sort of like separate for data pull request. So both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
By the way, coming back to the first question, Ramesh, there is this workflow already in the CSI folder. I don't know if that's exactly what you were looking for.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely helpful. I have not seen this one. Thank you for this.
Yeah, this is somehow a sort of sequence diagram that explains how the storage initializer works. Mm-hmm. This doesn't mean that the user should know that, because it could be seen as a black box from the user perspective.
Right.
But yeah, this is, let's say, under the hood how the different components interact with each other. And for sure, it can be improved. I mean, this was the first draft, let's say.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking to understand, at least myself, how everything is tied together.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for the feature, Andrea. Appreciate it.
I'm glad it helps showcasing how the model registry can be, let's say, used and integrated with other components as well.
Thank you so much, Andrea. So I just take it from the group that we are going for releasing both images at once. And this is the decision that we made today. If anybody were looking otherwise, please let me know in 3 or 2, or if you have any feedback in 1. Okay, so let's say that we settle for both at once. All right. Thank you so much, Andrea, also from my end. So moving on, I saw that Liu, you are in the call. I saw that you've added a couple of items, so the floor is yours.
Okay. Okay, so I'm working on the test case, but like during the test case, I found that like there's some details have been changed. It's like kind of like so I'm thinking about like if we moving to register model instead of the model file itself, like the .onyx file or like .pico file, and like use the MLflow runtime, because like I found that if we are want to tracking the exact file from the model registry and their flavors that register via all the different flavors offered by the MLflow, the photo the photo structure of different type of flavor are very different, and it's changing between the small versions. Yes. So this is the thing I find while building the test case. So I'm thinking about if we change to the MLflow runtime, so the MLflow itself can handle the backward compatibility kind of thing.
I see. So this is more related to kind of the internal file format that MLflow is using to track the metadata. Is this what you're referring to, that may change across different MLflow releases?
Yes. Yeah.
And then I think that if also your question is add a dependency to the MLflow runtime for the Python client. So what typically we did is that we separated things that are pertaining to integration with other dependency in their own kind of place. You can even think about having that one in a separate Python file as needed and so on. The logic is that in Model Registry, for instance, you don't necessarily need to have Hugging for making another example, it's like, I think, I don't know if you noticed, but it's like you may have or may not have Hugging Face Hub as a library dependency there in the model registry where you're installing pip model registry client. If it's there, then you are able to import from the Hugging Face as a flow. So I think that in general, there is no kind of like a problem in having an optional dependency for the model registry Python client. In this case, the optional dependency will be on MLflow runtime, I guess. So for as long as they are maintaining backward compatibility too, I think that we can fix on an MLflow 1.3. Whatever it is now, and then have this capability just consumed in import by the runtime. So my only question would be: is MLflow like releasing major releases all the time, or it is sort of like this backward compatibility thing? It's more related to minor versions.
I found some like cases in the minor release.
Mm.
So because the rack, like the MLflow saves like the model artifacts in a folder, like the folder contains all the except the model compacted model file itself. It has some other environment related like configuration files kind of. So but the naming and the position they or like the folder structure they put the packed model file in that folder will change in the minor version. So like if we write code directly to find kind of we you have their API, we got the folder directory from the API and we concat the file name, concat the file name from the metadata we retrieved from the MLflow. This is what I do now, but this way to locate the packed model file may fail when some minor version changed. So
Okay.
this is what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
All right. So let me maybe just try to try to make a summary to understand it, to check if understood correctly, and then I think that I have a proposal here. So the point being is that as we are trying to import from MLflow to model registry, the internal implementation on how MLflow stores their data somehow, it may change even in minor version. So the suggestion is to bind more to the MLflow library in a way so that we are transparently just inheriting the information that is typically exposed for MLflow. I think, and instead of saying, oh, we know that in MLflow version XYZ, then the model resides in this folder or in this other folder. If then the question is, if that is the point, then I think is not strictly speaking about having the MLflow runtime for serving the model. It's mainly another case for a custom storage initializer. What I mean by that is that if the MLflow library or the registry is able to offer this MLflow library in Python, is able that if you point to an MLflow model, it's able to download it and make it available locally so that PyTorch, TensorFlow, whatever it is able to serve. Then I think it is a case that you have a custom storage initializer that is able to interpret an MLflow kind of like a URI for a given point. In this way, what we are doing is that we are simply saying in model registry, we know what model MLflow entry that is pointing to. And then when it comes to serve the model, we just need to use MLflow, the library, in order to resolve that file. Because if it is about MLflow runtime for serving the model, that is not a question that we can answer in this meeting, because that is more for kserve. So I think that what we can do for kserve instead is to prepare a kind of like a custom storage initializer, so something like what Andrea has been doing earlier, but that is able to interpret the MLflow thing. So that if we index on that, I think that is one possible suggestion. Also, just a pity that today Isabella is on PTO, but sort of like I think that this is something that we can follow for up as she comes back from PTO. My suggestion, Leo, is that if you have an example of where you found these differences in the file, and you could document it somewhere in the pull request in a GitHub issue or on Slack or on CNCF Slack, wherever you want, I think this would be helpful for the conversation, because I'm feeling that I think that I got what you're speaking of, but I may not be 100% sure. So can I ask you if maybe for, say, the next biweekly or whenever possible, can you document this one somewhere so that we can have a look at like an example or something like that? Would that be possible for you to do, please?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. All right.
Yes. So like the case of can like support the MFlow runtime. So I just like thinking of like if we are like trying to like register MFlow like the model imported from MFlow in this week, because like we giving like the whole folder instead of the model file only to the kserve. Now it will be easier because we don't need to resolve like the inner like the folder structure of the whole folder.
Yeah, sounds a good way forward. All right. Was there any other point that you wanted to speak of, Liu?
Now I'm just now like trying to like build in the test case and like trying to start a new like test container to hold the MemFlow instance.
Okay. Just for since you mentioned, just please be aware that for what we found some limitation in the test containers for Python version, so the incarnation of test containers specifically for Python. So currently in the Model Registry Python client, we are just using straight to like a command line Docker Compose or Podman Compose, whatever it is, instead of the test container for Python, simply because the one for especially using Compose, we found some limitation. So in the case that you hit on some limitation on test container for Python, which it seems a bit on more the goodwill of the community for the Python incarnation, if you compare it to the test container for Go or the test container for Java originally. So please feel free to as well see what we've been doing for the Model Registry Python client, and maybe you can do the same in case that you find any problem. But if test container for Python works for you, all the better. We can use that as a standard library for testing. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to you, Ramesh.
I think you raised a great point there, Matthew, in terms of the how we integrate with the external repositories, right? If that's the path we are going to go, I think, yeah, I would love to see a little bit more time we spend in terms of writing a, describing the problem, writing a proposal with that, right? Because I see the same pattern should apply even to Hugging Face, even though, I mean, we support the same thing there in the Python library. I see, if we do that way, we can probably move some of this. I mean, I never liked that we are trying to import it from the Python library, to be honest. It kind of moves the problem from the client and client to somewhere in the server itself. We can have these integrations a little bit more tightly done, right? Something like in the Go server itself. But I think we definitely need to dig a little bit deep there and see if that's the pattern we want to follow. I see a proposal. Yeah, a little bit more research and the spike needs to be done there.
Okay, yeah, it's a fair point. Thank you, Ramesh. Yeah, I agree. Also, as well, because I think that we will be crossing some concerns that are replicated, like where the model is actually stored, if it is cached, more than just indexed or pointer to these kind of things. So I definitely think that this is worthy to mention solution.
Yeah, we can even, since we were talking about storage APIs coming forward pretty soon, we could even consider them as MFlow or Hugging Face as yet another storage point, right?
Yeah,
That could be another way to slice this.
so I will mark this one in some see open question. I will mark these ones there so that I remember for the next time. Otherwise, they might get lost. And you see. All right. Thank you so much, Liu. So I understand. The next one we have Chanakia. So if I saw that you had some points, so if you want to speak to those, the floor is yours.
Sure, thank you, Matteo. So Dheeraj and I have been working on adding multi-tenancy functionality to the MLMD server. So the way we're trying to do it is we pass in the group information through the metadata, and then the MLMD gRPC metadata, and then the MLMD server grabs that information and then uses that to execute the queries. So this way the proto buffs are not changed, and so there should be minimal change from already existing applications. So that was a design choice we made. So, and I already started draft PR. The link is on the doc. And yeah, so we've been working on that. That's it for me.
Same thing for you, Chanakya. Is there any way you could showcase your work, what you have done, and maybe an integration use case, to bring the new MLMD server with the model registry and show a use case there?
I have a Python test script that I could run and show you guys right now.
No, I mean, I'm not necessarily for today. I didn't mean to put you on spot. Maybe next meeting or something. If you wanna give us a presentation on what work you have done, and I guess then how we are gonna use this is you can also think about it a little bit more. Obviously, you and the restaurant thinking about how we are going to integrate this with model registry in expanding our feature set, right? You could, it could be a great one for next meeting on August 5th. You want to do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would also appreciate. Thank you, Ramesh, for pointing that out, and thank you, Chanakia, if you can prepare a demo. I think for the next bi-weekly, it would be greatly appreciated. All righty. So we don't have Andre. We don't have also no one from the HPO, HPT teams, as far as I can see. In the case, please raise hand. Or otherwise, we can just as a reminder, we have the roadmap proposed for 1.10. So let's say next the iteration works that next week is going to be retrospective on 1.9, and then we are going to on ramp for the 1.10 in the Kubeflow community at large. So if you have any comments or feedback that you would like to consider, this is currently the sort of like the tracker that we're using to collect overall the information. So I just wanted to point it out, especially if there are people watching the recordings. This could be a great way to influence as well the thing that we are going to look for in the upcoming month, I think. And then I think that we went through the agenda items. So This is now maybe a good time if people had some items that are not added, or if they wanted to introduce themselves or had any other topics that they wanted to discuss. And the floor is open to everyone as always, but a bit more free form.
Yeah, Shrikant, if you want to introduce yourself, maybe, if there is anything you want to bring it up to our attention or want to contribute, yeah, please let us know. If you're talking, you are on mute. Shrikant, can you hear us?
Maybe they've been busy with some other meetings, or they stepped away from the computer. In that case, Shrikant, you can take definitely the next bi-weekly call or follow us on the CNCF Slack. We are always indeed happy to take it to the meeting. Please feel free to add the agenda item so that we can make sure as well to properly follow through. But as well, if you have any other items, and with that, I think that we finished a bit earlier. So with that, I think that we can stop the meeting here. Thanks again for the great work, everyone. And we will see you for those who wants to participate in the community meeting every Tuesday for the Kubeflow community meeting in general, or otherwise for the Kubeflow or the registry bi-weekly meetings in 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.